Hopefully that has been... I had the restream chat up this entire time. Well, guess that's in the video now. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Weapon Select series. We're going to be keeping this rolling with the Slosher class today. Been getting a lot of requests for that one. If there's another one that you would like to see, feel free to post that in the comments. I am kind of taking people's requests into consideration with the order that I do these in, even though I am eventually going to get to all of them. So far we have done the short-range shooters, not the long-range shooters. We're splitting the shooters category into two, because 12 is a lot for one video. That video was already like 45 minutes long and it only got like halfway through, so we're splitting that into a separate section. We've already done the rollers, and today we're going to do the buckets. Let's get the standard one out here and talk a little bit about the general strengths of the buckets, and then we'll go into the things that make them unique. The Sloshers are a really interesting weapon class because their projectile is what makes them particularly unique. Instead of being a straight line of sight kind of bullet that fires out, it's this big, weird-shaped blob of stuff that's a little bit bigger at the outside edges of it and paints a little bit weirdly. And one of the neat things about this is that it doesn't care as much about ledges. If you aim up over a ledge, it will still hit something over the top of it like that. So that gives these weapons some unique abilities to exploit level geometry to stay behind cover and hit other people while they can't hit the bucket. Buckets do suffer from having a significantly slower fire rate than most weapons, so they are a little bit higher commitment. If you're going to slosh at someone, you're going to be locked into that animation for a little while. And so you're a lot more vulnerable if you're putting yourself in a position where other players can hit you, especially something like a shooter weapon. It's going to be able to outmaneuver you if it gets into range, and so that's not a fight you want to take. So what you need to be doing is keeping your zone of control around you. You need to be keeping them at bay using the sloshes, or you need to be using stealth to get up on top of them in the case of the Tri-Slosher. That's one exception to the way that these play. You want to be using the projectile's strengths, that is, its significantly longer range, and its ability to hit up over the top of stuff, so that you can avoid the disadvantage of not being as maneuverable in the middle of it. One really nice thing about buckets is that they do not get their aim impacted at all by jumping and shooting. You can see that my aim is not being affected at all by that from the four corners around the reticle. They are staying the same distance away. They are going to hit exactly where you aim them. So that's super nice, especially since the hitbox is bigger than it is for most weapons. So that's a really big positive to it, and that enables it to use jump shots to get a little bit more mobility. Do not ever catch yourself like doing this unless you've already hit one shot and you just need one more to be able to hit someone. Otherwise, you really want to be moving more, and even then you probably just want to be jump shotting anyway. This is for, you need the splat as fast as possible, because otherwise just being more mobile is definitely really useful. And no reason not to work some squid rolls in there if you think those are going to be handy for you. There's a technique that several of the buckets are able to use in order to camp super jumps that carries over a bit from Splatoon 2. It's a little bit niche because, for example, this weapon already has a bomb. So it's not going to need too much more help camping a jump. But let's say, for example, you don't have enough ink to camp this jump, and getting that amount of ink is going to take a little bit too long before they're already on the ground. One alternative you have, since you have a relatively slow fire rate and you're probably only reliably going to hit one shot before they decide to move or do something, is you can fire one shot up into the air so that it takes longer to reach the ground and hit the player. And then you can turn your aim back down and as soon as they land, hit them right in the chest. And if you time this well, both this high slosh and this slosh should hit them at right about the same time, and that should not give them that much time to get out of the way. So if I can get this right, let's see if I can aim it. It'll go pretty much like that, and you can hear from how the two hits connected, it was very fast, and unless someone's got, like, I don't know, drop rollers or tetra dualies, that's probably gonna hit them before they're gonna be able to get out of the way. And maybe even then, I don't know. I haven't tested this against dualies or someone with drop roller, so maybe it's too fast for even that. So this is a little bit niche, but, you know, sometimes there might be a use for this elsewhere as well. Like, maybe you don't want someone to get enough warning that you're there before you deal lethal damage. You don't want to give them enough time between the first and second slosh to get out of the way. And so that's a technique that does shorten your range, but it's useful. So that's the high slosh, and this is the slosh at, you know, your eye level. So again, this is something that you only do from close up to someone, and you don't usually want to be that close to them. But if you do end up that close to them and maybe they don't know you're there and you don't want to give it away until they're already splatted, that's a way to hide the fact that you're about to do lethal damage to them for as long as possible. That probably does it for the general, you know, this applies to all buckets information. So now let's start this off by talking about the vanilla slosher and what makes it special. The vanilla slosher is a midline aggro weapon. So it's a weapon that is going to be going up and helping its teammates in fights, while keeping a little bit further back than something like a typical short-range shooter will be. Because you can hit people from pretty far away with this thing. It's not super long range, but it's better than the majority of shooters will be that you're going to be fighting against, and so you can use this to kind of kite them a little bit, to attack them from a range that they cannot contest you from, and force them back. And since you only need a two-shot, if you get the jump on someone, you hit them once, and then they either run away or they're just going to get hit with the second one really quickly. So that's a really positive aspect of it. And this is a great weapon for harassing backliners up over the top of ledges like that. You can see it hits up pretty high, even from a distance, over the top of stuff. And using that makes you a huge pain to something like a Hydra player that is trying to keep its charge. And if you could just let it charge for another second, then maybe it'd be able to hit you, but no. So they don't like it when you do that. The weapon has a splat bomb, which is phenomenal for it. It has triple ink strike, which is less than stellar. The problem with this special is that you can't move while you're using it. You really can only walk, and that's a really exposed, dangerous thing to just be doing. Like, one of the first things that you tend to learn in Splatoon is that swimming is safer and faster. And safer because faster and a lot of other things. But, like, all I can do is run and jump. That's all I got until I throw all three of these things, which is really slow. Inkzuka isn't like that. Inkzuka gets to swim around while it uses it. Booyah Bomb gets armor while it does this stuff. But Tri-Strike, it's not the best. Hopefully that can get changed. Something that I just showcased there is another unique aspect of this weapon that is actually only really usable by the vanilla slosher. And that is curving your shots. If you start a shot aiming off the target and you realize that you're missing it, you sacrifice a little bit of range, but you can actually whip your aim around, and if you do this with the right timing, and I'm not doing it with the right timing, you curve the shot and it actually can still hit them. It's kind of like that. So I started that off aiming from here, but I was able to move the aim over, because what's really happening when you put a slosh down is that there are a bunch of individual shots that are all firing over the course of the animation. And so if you're aiming in different places as you move the shot, you can get your aim on even if it wasn't in the first place. So I actually like to practice when I'm in the practice range doing this a little bit, so that if I realize with the start of my shot that I was off a little bit, I can still learn to correct it as I move my way over. It's not very common that you're going to want to be doing stuff like this, but it is possible. And it will still give you two-shot potential to do it. So that sort of thing is something to practice in the training room, and who knows, maybe you find a use for it in some cases here and there. So, let's get started with our match here. Alright. So I think what I'm going to try to do to start off is maybe take low ground and see if I can get somebody over the top of these ledges. We're going to start off, of course, first by trying to go for pop. It's always nice to contest that when you possibly can, although I'm not liking our odds with the weapons we've got here. So I'm going to keep my distance. Ah, maybe we got it. Maybe we got it. Nice, we got it. Okay. Let's get some ink back, because this is a pretty ink-hungry weapon. There's someone back here that we want to get out of this. Oh. All three of them are guarding it on the right, and I was not looking for that, so not a great start. We are able to get one, which is nice. And they do have to push through mid, so it's not like they're going to be able to punish us for this by scoring right away. I have to be really careful about around the Rainmaker, because if I commit to a slosh too close to when it's about to hit me, I just forfeit my ability to get away from it at all. Nice job. Okay. There was an example of me curving my shot, which I didn't really do on purpose. It was more just I was aiming for the sake of painting, and realized all of a sudden in the middle of the slosh I needed to be targeting something else, and so I did. It's a nice thing that you can kind of do there. You're not really committed to aiming in one particular place until much later in the animation. Alright. We've done a lot of slaying, and now we need to actually get this somewhere. I'm just going to pick it up and run it. Don't have a lot of paint in front of us, and I'm not feeling especially safe. Oh, nice, nice. The Zipcaster got 2. And that was what I was worried about, someone dropping down on us. But we can definitely get it at this point. Would have been nice for us to focus that, considering that was the only player remaining on their team, and so we can just put all of our attention on that and protect the Rainmaker carriers as they're trying to get through. But Rainmaker carrier and bodyguards and whatnot, you know, everybody involved in that push. Alright. Yeah, I figured that was pretty much the only place they were going to be able to roll to. There's me using the ability of it to hit over ledges to significant effect. Oh, there's someone over here, and I'm probably dead. Yep, I hit him once, but nobody there to follow up. So that's unfortunate. This player is a little bit out of play right now because they're on our checkpoint, and we really would prefer that they come back to defend, but they did get a couple, so we can't complain too much. Now, I'm trying to look for where these autobombs go, and unfortunately I don't get a lot of information from that. I'm going to try and keep the left side under control. The Brella who's trying to drop down here. I let them get too far into range. That might be Turtle, a competitive player that I'm aware of. It looks like they're going to try and rotate it to the left, actually, which would probably be smart, because this is the better push most of the time on this map. Alright, we stopped that for sure. I don't know how we let them get up there, but we do not want them there. We're going to try and just put stuff in between them and us as much as we can. Unfortunately, I think we are going to lose the lead here. I needed to back up longer than I wanted to because I was out of ink. This is a beatable push. Oh, we don't want that there. There we go. This isn't a great comp to have a Slosher on, because what a Slosher really wants is someone that will push up in front of it that it can support. But the Carbon is going to want to be sharking, so it doesn't want to follow the Carbon to give its position away. And the Tetras are going to be diving so deep that the Slosher can't really follow it very safely. So I'm kind of just left on, like, Rainmaker duty, on trying to play a little bit of defense and zone them away. from where I don't want them to be. And eventually I am just going to get run down for doing that. And there's the big weakness of the Tri-Strike again, that, again, you cannot move very well while using it. We were able to... No, we weren't able to stop it. We don't even get the pick on them. Ugh. Not super happy with that game. I think that showcased it well, but like I said, I don't think we had a very good team comp. So what you really want is to pick a teammate that's going to go in, and you go in and support them side by side. You know what? We'll do another game. What the heck? These videos are long anyway. Another thing that you're looking for with a team comp for a Slosher is that it's not the best painter. You don't want to put it in a role where it really has to be painting a disproportionate amount to be supporting the team. Because, I mean, the paint pattern itself is great, but you only have so many sloshes before you're going to run out. It's a pretty ink-hungry weapon, so it's going to need to recover that ink a lot. We can work with this. We've got 2 sloshers here, actually. Try and go in with our Clash and our Zap here. We do have a bunch of bombs that we can chuck at the shield, and so we're going to get that for sure. So now we want to support Onion if we can. Hydra got an angle on us. That's unfortunate, and we all go down for that. So they're just going to get checkpoint here for free. But we can definitely stop them from getting any further than that. Maybe. If someone pushes into the shield or something. Alright, I think we handled the Junior. Yeah, the Junior's down. So, alright, there's a jump in that hopefully we cover. Yes, we did. Okay, cool. So, we're going to have other players who are going to be capable of covering the shield, but we're going to try and support our teammate here. I don't like that we're taking it left, but if we're going to commit to it, then we're going to commit to it. I actually thought I was down the whole way, and so I probably could have gotten that pick if I had realized I wasn't splatted. It took 2 specials, but we got them. There, that was a really good play by our Slosher there. The Slosher is very much a Slayer sort of weapon, a midline Slayer. They're not great at skirmishing, as we've mentioned. That they're not very maneuverable. They don't have the fire rate. They can, I guess, hit up over ledges and stuff and play fights that way, but if you're looking for a skirmisher type of weapon, you're more likely to be looking at something like the Sloshing Machine. For its ability to use that hitbox from less aggressive positions, to throw things at people, to get in the way of stuff. This is if you're looking for more of the Slayer archetype. Hello. Got that player. Trying to cut off some options here. Your single slosh does paint a lot individually, and so it's pretty useful for being able to cut off movement options that the enemy team is trying to use. Alright, we got the dunk. Do we get more than this? We would need to pop this, and we don't have the ink to do that, so we're going to back up. This player's maybe dead. Yeah, we tried. We gotta keep ourselves alive, though. Notice how I'm, like, throwing bombs in the way of where they're trying to go? Because that's either going to pick them, or it's going to force them to go slower than they want to. I tried to main strafe there, and if I were more used to playing Sloshers, I would have sub-strafed instead, and that would have gotten me out of it. Main strafing is definitely not the play with this weapon. This is a weapon that really does, if it wants to turn quickly, want to sub-strafe instead. That's one down. And teammate will follow that up, so we've still got numbers. There's one on the top right. Nice, we got them down. Unfortunately, the Booyah Bomb is going to slow us down a little bit, and so now we're going to have players coming back in. But hopefully I can attack from over here enough. We're able to create some space. We're having trouble breaking through. We'll get picks, but then we're not moving quickly enough to be able to capitalize on them. Okay, it's just a junior in our way. Hopefully we can just get this and get the lead. There it is. And we actually kept it until the end of the game, so that's a win. Whew, close one, but we pulled it off. All right, next up we have the Tri-Slosher. The Tri-Slosher is a much shorter ranged, much more aggressive version of the Slosher. This is a weapon with not anywhere near as much range. You know, a vanilla Slosher could hit from probably about here. Tri-Slosher's not even close. So this is a weapon that's tricky because you need to get up close to the opponent. But once you do, it has a massive hitbox. Like, I can slosh from, like, here and still hit this player. If I'm a little closer. There. And that's still going to two-shot from whatever part of it that I hit them with. So this is a very beginner-friendly weapon because it's easy to aim. But as you get higher and higher in skill level, it becomes a little bit more challenging just because you need to get as close as you do to splat them. And this is definitely a main weapon that can absolutely be strong, but the kit that it has here isn't the greatest for it. It's got a very middling sub and a very middling special right now. Inkjet is definitely powerful in certain situations, but it's very high risk, high reward. You can't reliably get benefit out of it, especially in a meta that's dominated by chargers, which love picking these things out of the air. So it's not in as good of a shape as it was when, say, you could pop Ink Armor and keep it safe from a charger shot that way. And Toxic Mist can slow the opponent down, but it can't stop the opponent, which is a huge downside, especially for something like Rainmaker, where you would really rather have the ability to make them stop for 2 or 3 seconds to wait for your bomb to explode than just make them move a little bit slower on their way through. So it really forces you to either take a huge risk by using your special to get picks, or take a huge risk by getting really close to them to get picks. So this is not a top-tier kit right now, but with different subs and specials, it can definitely get up there and has been before. This was a really powerful weapon, even after the nerf in Splatoon 2 in a lot of circumstances, especially when it got Burst Bomb. Burst Bomb made this weapon really, really powerful. It had better movement because of it. It had the ability to combo with its own sloshes off of Burst Bomb Direct. So all of those things were really nice about it. They're just not doing as hot right now. And it's definitely doable, because one of the nice things about it is that the Tri-Slosher loves sharking. The Tri-Slosher loves to just sit under a ledge and then pop, pop, do that sort of thing. Or wait for someone to drop over it and then pop, pop, hit him in the back. And sitting under ledges happens to be a great thing to do if you're trying to pop an Inkjet. So you pop up like this, and now you not only have the jump on someone who is right over the top of you that couldn't see you before, you also are able to gain height as soon as you get up over the top. And height is something that an Inkjet needs. So that actually synergizes really well with the Tri-Slosher. But the special itself is weaker than it used to be. So it's still a little bit less useful just for that reason. Like we said, the Tri-Slosher is going to shark a lot so that it can try and get closer to the enemy players. So I think Ninja Squid is kind of mandatory on this thing. It would be a huge disadvantage not to be using it, to be able to get a little bit closer, to be able to get in range. This weapon very reliably should win close range fights as long as it can stay in range. Because it's just 2 sloshes. They're very easy to hit. It's difficult to miss. And since you're planning on getting the jump on people, you should have the first slosh out before they know it hit them. And then there's not a weapon in the game that the Tri-Slosher cannot at least trade after it's hit them once. Because you just have to hit a second slosh. And that is pretty unreactable. Notice that you can actually curve the sloshes on the Tri-Slosher here. It's just a lot less useful because you're not using as long-ranged of a weapon. So you can maybe like adjust if you're about to miss a shot. But realistically, you should probably just aim to have your aim on already. You have a really big hitbox to work with. We're probably not going to be able to get pop with this comp. I don't have a bomb to contribute to it, and there's only one really good painting weapon here, so I'm going to be especially careful. But I can put that in an annoying spot. And I did not want to take the position I did. I'm still thinking in Slosher brain, and I tried to create distance instead of trying to close distance. So that's something I'm going to need to unlearn real quick. That's a really easy pick there. We'll throw that there because that will annoy this player to the point where... There we go, nice. Unfortunately, that takes me away from a place where I can get to the right, and that's where the fight is right now. We're going to put that up there, and then we're going to try and engage. Okay, we got that player. And then this player is weak, but they're running away. And I shouldn't have chased them that hard. The Hydra was watching. Nice. Okay. What am I doing running into this? I was thinking, we've got 3 people with us. We can contest the Rainmaker pop. But nobody was actually trying to shoot it, and nobody's going to get in position to shoot it, so... Poor decision. Someone right behind this wall. And I tried to read them a little bit too hard on their movement. Would have had them otherwise. Good job on my team to be playing the Rainmaker at this point. I don't know why the 52 is dropping that direction when we had so much control over here. The lack of paint is a really big pain in the butt for this weapon. Because like I said, it's a sharking weapon. It's a weapon that doesn't paint super well for itself, like most sloshers. And so I'm having trouble getting into positions that are helpful just because I'm pretty visible as I'm approaching there. Okay, they did not respect that. So now I'm going to try and get ahead. And I'm going to try and get an inkjet up in the air that's going to be helpful to us. Okay, so they've got their Booyah Bomb. Now, inkjet does shred Booyah armor pretty quickly. So they can't just stay... Oh, hello. Okay, we get that. Oh, this player... Oh, they do know. But I think I win this. Yeah, I do. The weapon is a little bit less useful for hitting up over ledges like that just because of the lower range. And that's something that can be a pain about this thing. Not able to use all of the weapon's powerful characteristics just because it doesn't reach far enough up over a ledge to be able to use them. Nice, we got one. One nice thing about the Toxic Mist is that it can let you close distance with someone more easily because they are slowed, and so you're able to take the time that they're taking to try and get away from you to close distance because you're moving faster. Okay. I should probably be able to get in here, especially if I can pop this. Yes. was a pretty impactful inkjet. That's one. We hit them. Oh, that was a beautiful Rainmaker shot. Now it's just the roller. I'm worried that they pop the Rainmaker and just take it to the right while we're contesting their base here. I don't want them to just get away with running it somewhere. All right, another few points there. That was pretty good. We don't need to pop this, although teammates are probably going to at this point. Unfortunate. What I think we probably could have done was just stall it there. Yeah. It's now... Okay, we didn't actually give them overtime because we died soon enough. I'm actually glad that we got splatted as quickly as we did. But they're going to pick it up anyway. And there's nobody in the way. We're all trying to play offense here. It's a little bit risky, but we didn't let them get to the podium here. And that's going to be game. All right. Freshness license. Freshness Sheldon license thing. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. Let's move on to the Sloshing Machine. The Sloshing Machine is more of a midline weapon and more of a skirmisher type than the vanilla Slosher. A lot of people would probably still classify the Slosher as a skirmisher weapon because of the way that its hitbox works, that it can poke people from ranges that they can't contest it. But the Sloshing Machine doesn't have to engage as much. It's got a really big hitbox, and it's got stuff it can throw in between you and it. And so it's a lot more likely to try and rely on chip damage, to maybe hit you once and then back up and let its teammate finish the rest of it. Whereas the Slosher is a lot more likely to try and go in and finish fights rather than start them. So Sloshing Machine has been a high-tier choice for a good little while. And it's still being used, in some cases, 2 of them at a time in team comps. Fizzy Bomb is just perfect for this weapon. It's so good for it. It allows it to combo really well. It allows it to control space better, which is what it wants to do anyway with its big hitbox. The Fizzy Bomb, if you hit with 1 hit of it, then a direct will KO. And if you hit 2 hits of it... okay, well, I didn't hit 2 hits of it. You hit 2 hits of it... Work with me here, Fizzy Bomb. Boom, boom. I will get better at these. Boom, boom. There we go. No, that hit all 3. Come on. I'm looking for 2. There we go. Then all you need is an indirect, and that will do lethal damage. So you get combos no matter how many times you hit the Fizzy. Because if you hit once, then you've got the direct. If you hit twice, then you've got the indirect. And if you hit 3 times, the Fizzy Bomb killed them by itself. So it doesn't even matter. So it's got a lot of really useful combo points. You can, run this with a Rapid Blaster, and that makes it really easy to get combos with. An indirect takes away 1 splatter shot that you have to hit. So it's really convenient exactly where the damage numbers fall for this thing. It's got decent range, and it's going to try and keep you at that range. Because, again, its weakness is its fire rate. This thing splats about 3 times as slowly as a splatter shot or a 52 gal do. And those aren't even the fastest killing weapons in the game. Those are just ones that have fairly fast kill times that are used competitively right now. So you definitely do not want to let anything get on top of you, especially short-ranged. You have the tools to not let that happen. There are so many explosions going on in front of this weapon right now. How do you get through that? You take a narrow corridor with this thing, and it's very difficult to push through. On top of that, Booyah Bomb is one of the best specials in the entire game, has been since Splatoon 2. It creates so much area control. It's not going to paint, and stop trying to use it to paint, please. This is not a very good painting special at all. I can throw 2 Fizzy Bombs and paint about as much as I'm going to paint with that Booyah Bomb. in about the same amount of time. A junior can just sit on the splat zone and paint through a booyah bomb, and the booyah bomb doesn't even look like it touched the zone when the smoke clears. The goal with it is to put it in between enemy players to force them apart from each other, or to force a bunch of enemy players into your team. Because while the enemy team is forced to be running away from the booyah, they are not able to defend themselves. So yes, sometimes you can get solo splats with the booyah bomb by just throwing it with really good timing. Sometimes you can use it to defend yourself with the armor, but especially in a competitive setting, what you really want to be using the booyah for is starting a fight, is putting this out there so your teammates can follow up on the damage that you are threatening to the enemy team. And that's when you really get the most value out of that thing. So it's a weapon that makes you not stand where you want to stand better than most other weapons. It can still do the thing where it hits up over ledges like this and annoy the crap out of backliners. It can throw fizzy bombs and annoy the crap out of frontliners and midliners. And it can throw booyah bombs and make everyone run in fear. And so being able to do that is really powerful. Furthermore, it is a great weapon for both kind of aggressive play and defensive play. You can't go quite as aggro as you can with a short-range shooter, but you can definitely push up with those shooters and play similar to how the vanilla Slosher plays. But it also lets you play very defensively. If somebody's trying to get through here, I just throw a fizzy bomb and I throw out a couple of hitboxes here, and I've got this entire area under control. How do they get in? They have to wait, and then I just throw another fizzy, or I do more of this. It's really easy to lock off an entire area of the map by playing that way. So you can switch between those two options. You can also play kind of supportively. You don't paint a ton without the fizzy bomb, but you do get booyah bombs from painting a decent amount. And playing around those booyah bombs is also an option. Very versatile weapon, kind of like a couple of other top meta picks. They can do multiple things very well. And that is part of what makes this a pretty strong choice. Alright. Starting things off, a lot of players will run LDE for this, for more fizzy bomb spam, which makes a lot of sense. I am probably going to end up playing it more aggressively than I mean to, and so I'm probably not going to be emulating that playstyle quite as much. Back up a little bit here, because there is someone over here, and I don't want them to get caught by them. I tried to warn them in a number of different ways. Oh boy. That fizzy bomb is just there to give me enough time to get away before the Rainmaker pops. I'm going to try and get back up to high ground. It gives me a better angle on this too, so I can throw that out there. We might be able to pick this up. Yeah. Booyah, so that they are forced into us. And there we go. That's a wipe. So now let's start trying to get out in front of them. Create some space, create a distraction, hold down an angle that they're trying to approach the Rainmaker from. And that got us all the way to KO. What? Did they... Did they just chase me that hard over to the left-hand side? Oh, no. Oh, no. They just let the Rainmaker go by. Woo. We're probably going to do another game just because that one was so short. They made a big mistake on the Rainmaker defense there. They overfocused me by a lot. Something to note about the Sloshing Machine is that its fire rate is significantly slower than, I believe, even the vanilla Slosher. Not super fast. It is kind of nice that it's a direct combos with an indirect, but any part of the Slosher's hitbox combos with itself. So it's a little bit more precise, it's a little bit slower. That is a weird comp. They've got some missile spam, they've got a jet. Might be a little bit annoying. Okay, well, I don't know what happened there. Some kind of bomb, I guess. Oh my goodness. So the teammate running by me with the missiles got me, and I guess the Rainmaker ran into someone else's missile or ran into another player. But we were this waying to get them to go to the right, and they didn't go to the right, so they didn't have as much protection as they should have. That was pretty uncoordinated Rainmaker push. If you're the Rainmaker, first of all, just go right. Right is the better direction to go with the Rainmaker. But second of all, go the direction that your teammates are frontlining for you, because they're actually there to protect you. That was a 2v4 situation for the enemy team. That should lead to us dunking on first check. But instead, our Rainmaker went off alone, ended themselves up in a 1v2. So that was just a huge positional disadvantage. I'm gonna wait for the missiles to land, because missiles... Oh no, I waited too long. Missiles can shred you out of a Booyah Bomb pretty quickly. You don't want to pop that when you've got a lot of missiles on you, because you might just get splatted through the armor. I'm just making it as difficult as possible for them to pick this up. End up getting one. That's nice. That'll force them either forward or backward, and either way we are fine with that. I'm putting my missiles on top of the bridge because it won't do anything if they land there. Okay, we got two. There is a reflux watching, but they're not watching me. And now we should be able to just sneak through here, get the dunk easily enough. And nobody's here protecting from the top left. There is someone flanking in, but the teammate who ran in front of us was not protecting what they needed to protect there. Because we can't go forward until we've gotten past the checkpoint. We're going to need to stay past the checkpoint. Like, stay at that area on the right for a little longer. And so we need to have that area safe. We need to have that area cleared. Trying to get the fizzy bombs in a place where their large area of control will be valuable. This is a big risk, and I really wanted to hit that direct, but we got him anyway. Oof. I thought I could get away from that in time. Good bomb from our teammate. Yeah, sharking with the sloshing machine, probably not the optimal play there. This is a Tri-Slosher thing. I'm getting them all kind of mixed up with each other. That bomb should get that player. Nice. I had a fizzy, but then I realized I was being rushed and just decided not to charge it and threw it right away. Them grabbing it there is actually probably better for us. I need to throw this quickly so I don't die to the missiles. Oh, that was well placed. Okay, nice. I'll grab this. Ooh, hello. Man, almost got away. Splatter shot was at the very edge of the range there. And we've still got control. We've still got numbers. We just need somebody to get in front of this and keep it alive. Okay, well, we threw out a whole bunch of hitboxes and we hit a whole bunch of things, somewhat at random. But that will maintain our position on the map. Nice. Trying to harass the Jet Squelcher here. Force them down to our level. We got a player who's right on top of us. I'm going to wait to see if we can handle that. Looks like we can't by ourselves. So we'll do that with our Booyah Bomb at our feet. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish by putting it right there. That's not a very safe location. Come on, come and grab it. You know you want to. Ideally, we don't pick that up, but since we did, we're just going to try and wall them out from getting to us. And since they have to go in a really predictable spot, and I have a huge hitbox, that's pretty easy for me to get picks from. So that was a pretty good game. Okay. So now we're getting much closer to the back line here. So the Bloblobber is a weird, like, hybrid anchor sort of weapon. It's not really an anchor because it's not quite long-ranged enough, but it sort of plays like one a lot of the time, and it works the range that it's at, but it's very unique, and so it's difficult to categorize. So what you see on this is a lot of LDE, a lot of like main saver stuff to let it just keep lobbing blobs. You probably do want Ninja Squid here. That's about the closest I can get for that. But it'd be good if I had some stealth jump shoes that do actually have main saver. If I have to go with just main saver on the shoe, that's not the end of the world, because this isn't a weapon that's going to play from very far forward. This is actually a really good shoe for this. We'll run this. So this is, again, I'm not tailoring builds to the weapon. I'm finding what I currently have that is closest to what I would want to run, and I'm making do with that. But if anybody ever has questions about builds, I will always recommend you to sendu.inc/builds. And we'll try to remember to put a link of that in the description. Remind me if I don't. So the Bloblobber lobs 4 of these blobs. The idea with this weapon is to control a lot of space and not to ever commit to a fight. Like from here, I'm just doing this sort of thing and making it really difficult for that player to find an angle. And if they start moving to the right, I'm trying to cut them off to the right, and I'm trying to do this sort of thing and hem them in so that there's paint around them and they can't get anywhere. So you do get picks with this weapon, especially when you're following up on fights your teammates are taking. But a lot of the time, because of the really, really slow projectile time, you're not getting those picks because of, like, single direct hits where you hit all 4 blobs. A lot of the time, you're doing chip damage with a teammate. Something that you can do that is similar to how the vanilla Slosher curves its shot is you can move the shot so that the blobs are bouncing sideways to each other instead of all going in a straight line. So something like this, that covers a little bit more space. Another thing that's really, really valuable and that I can't demonstrate super well, I guess I can do it here, is that if your opponent is up against a wall, don't aim at the opponent, aim for a bounce shot off the wall. Because the angle that you get from bouncing off the wall, see this right here is wider, an area that you control with the blobs, than if you just try to hit it straight on. So from here, this controls less space than this does. So you're more likely to hit shots and more likely to paint feet and get in their way and damage them and splat them if you actually aim at the wall to get bounces off. And if it hits them, then great. And if the bounce shot is what has to hit them, then great. But you give yourself a better opportunity a lot of the time by taking those bounce shots. And if you're in a tight corridor, then, oh my goodness, double bounces and all of this kind of stuff just creates so much chaos around you that you're probably going to hit enough shots with maybe like 2 sloshes to get someone. Up close, there is still the potential that you hit a one-shot because now the projectile speed isn't as much of a concern. And as long as you just aim all 4 of them accurately, you can get someone down. So just because someone closes distance on you does not mean they necessarily win that engagement, especially since as a weapon with as long of range as you've got, you've probably already damaged them on the way. But you need to be set up. You can't just like go in and shark with this weapon. You can't play this super aggressively. It will probably get, outslain by something with a faster kill time and a faster projectile speed. So, very interesting weapon. They unfortunately gave it a weaker kit than it has had before. These are the weaker 2 aspects of the kits that it had in Splatoon 2. It really likes its wall because that makes it more difficult to approach. And it really liked the bomb rush that it had because it gave it combo potential. It was a special that helps it control space and very much the same way that its blobs do, and gave it a lot of like threat to splat if you stayed on that spot. So it just has kind of the two weaker elements of the kits that it used to have. But I think with better kits, this thing is still absolutely going to be a valuable niche pick. This is usually something that you don't want to run on every map or every mode. It's especially difficult to use in tower control for its difficulty actually aggressing on the tower itself. Hitting up onto that ledge and getting the blobs to go where you want them to hit someone can be tricky. And it's not going to have that much stopping power in maybe Rainmaker, although it is really valuable for setting up and making it difficult to push through an area in general. It's just not going to be able to stop the Rainmaker as quickly. It is very powerful at popping the Rainmaker, though. It does a lot of DPS to the shield, so that's something that people will use it for sometimes. Let's see what we can do with it here. I'm going to probably try and focus on locking down mid for most of the match. I'm going to try and give left a very safe distance. Because I don't want someone dropping down on me and being in range. And notice how we've, like, never even felt unsafe so far. And we've already gotten a couple of picks. And that's how this weapon works. This is a weapon that I've seen a lot of players with relatively weak mechanics be able to still hit, like, X rank in Splatoon 2 with. Because they don't have to move around the way that you do with a shooter when you get into a close range engagement. And the aiming isn't that intensive. You just have to kind of predictively aim in the rough general area that you think they're going to be. And a lot of the time, you just get the bounce shots, because it's mostly luck anyway, whether they decide to run into you. And be careful about being dropped on the left there, and the sploosh was able to get to us because we were looking at that. It's unfortunate. We're just going to throw all sorts of things in their way. We should have rain soon. We can pop that in this direction. Make it even more difficult for them to walk through. This sploosh is trying to shark me here. And we ended up... that wasn't the sploosh that we got, actually. Sploosh is over there on the right. Nice, they're down. And again, we're not trying to do anything too fancy. We're just backing away as soon as anybody gets too close to us. We backed around that corner for the sake of cover. And now they've left the front door open. Please let me get up. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're good. That was kind of short, but I honestly think that that was a pretty good idea of how to play the weapon. I don't think there was that much more of fancy stuff that I needed to show off. You are kind of a hybrid support and anchor, and so grabbing the Rainmaker is a pretty good choice for you. You're going to be pretty slow anyway, and you're going to be firing from pretty far back anyway, trying to keep a safe distance. So it's much the same pressure that you're going to get from a Bloblobber that you're going to get from the Rainmaker itself. So you're a pretty good candidate for Rainmaker carrier. This weapon is excellent in splat zones at holding the zone also. That's something that is an especial forte of it. All right, last but not least, we are moving on to the Explosher. So the Explosher is an anchor weapon, and therefore it's further outside my typical role, although I did get some experience on it doing a weapon to X playthrough on Splatoon 2. It was something that I did to try and learn weapons that I was less familiar with, and I found it to be a pretty valuable experience that taught me how to play some other weapons that I wouldn't have otherwise known how to play very well. So people run a lot of main saver onto this, to the point that we're not running like Ninja Squid or Stealth Jump or anything. A lot of them are just running like 2 mains of main saver. I'm probably going to try and make do with this. It's not quite as much as other people are running, but at least I get to keep Stealth Jump this way. Oh, wait, but I don't have any swim speed. I really want some swim speed. This is a very slow weapon, and you definitely want that for it. How can I work this in? I might not be able to work it in the way that I want to. I would like a combination of swim speed and Inksaver main, but this is not a weapon that is like my main weapon or anything, so it's not something I'm itemizing for, and I probably don't have that combination anywhere. See if there's a better option for the shoe here. If I can get some swim speed and some Inksaver main at the same time, that would be a win. Yeah, that's not a lot of it, but I guess it is something. That's probably our next best idea. Yeah. Again, sendu.ink if you want to look at the builds for it. I'm not going to spend too long on those because I have not built for any of these weapons. But okay, so Explo is a relatively unique sort of hitbox. If you pass through someone with the hitbox, it'll do 55. So you need 2 of those shots to splat. And that's kind of normal Slosher. But something unique about it is that you have splash damage on landing. So that's going to do 35 damage. So if you aim pretty carefully, you can get a hit to do 90 because it both goes through them doing 55 and then splashes on the floor near them doing 35. And that's often what you're looking for with these kind of big arcing shots. You're looking for it to both hit them to do the 35 and go through them to do the 55. So that's something to work on in the training room to be able to hit those consistently from different angles. This weapon is able to exist in a meta where E-Leader is dominant because it doesn't have to challenge the E-Leader at its sight lines. It can just do that and damage the E-Leader. And what in the world does the E-Leader do about that? It does not have straight line of sight on somebody who's doing this to it. So it can sit behind cover and still have an impact on that match by threatening with damage from this angle, especially if you can aim it a little bit more effectively than I am able to. This weapon is one of the best users of point sensor in the game because again, it's going to want to be using cover for a lot of the time, and so it can just use this to figure out where it should be aiming its shots instead of having to guess. You chuck this up here, and you can see that this player who's moving on the right, I'm able to spot them. And while I can't see what kind of damage I'm doing to them or how I'm hitting them super well, I can kind of figure out where they are based on just seeing them behind the wall. And the better you get at this, the more effectively you're going to be able to use the weapon. So as you can see, I'm not actually hitting a lot of those shots, but with practice, that's something that you can learn to do a lot more effectively. And then the rain is just something that's, you know, it's a nice support special. You can combo with it to get the damage a little bit quicker. So if somebody's in the rain, it's making it more likely you're going to be able to, like, one-shot them with a 55 or something like that. Or one-shot them with a 90 especially. So that's kind of what you're hoping for there, but otherwise, your general game plan is similar to the Bloblobber, but from further back. You are trying to control space. You're trying to cut off players' movement options, because painting at their feet, even if that doesn't even do any damage, this is so much paint that they have to, like, work around. And a lot of the time when you hit someone with something like a 90, even though they haven't been splatted, they're stuck in place and you just have time to hit the second one. So you get hit like that, you can probably just follow it up and get another pick. Or get another shot on to get the pick. Then, whenever there's an opposing backliner, you want to be harassing that from whatever safe positions you can, so that it can't have as much of an impact on the rest of your team. Because this is kind of an anti-backliner backliner. Okay, we've got another backline weapon here, so we're going to try and play a little bit more aggressively. We're going to have to watch out for the Tri-Stringer, because they can make it difficult to move around, but, like, we can kind of do the same thing to them, too, for what that's worth. We're going to try and keep very close track of our ink tank here so that we're not ever running out. Because we're already slow enough, we don't need to be slower already than we are. And see, one of the nice things about this is that you can kind of just have an impact on whatever fight you want anywhere on the map because you've got so much range and you're able to hit over things. So I know that there's somebody on the far right here. I'll try and grab it, though, because I think I've got the distance that I need now. Not with my teammates on the left having to abandon that. Sounds a little premature. Now we're 2 down here. I'm really worried that our teammates are still taking fights right now. I don't like that. We're probably going to have to give up the checkpoint here. Although that was a really high-value point sensor. And notice how I didn't have an impact on that fight except by painting. But the paint was so significant at their feet that they were just stuck there with my teammate. I'm a little bit too far forward right now, although I would have preferred that we have maybe some help up front. I don't know. I guess some of us were busy popping the shield, and then the only player at my back was Knee Leader, so it's not like there's anyone who can help me there. Double backline is not my favorite. There are times where it can work, but I don't think it's optimal most of the time. Throw this rain into mid here. Looks like fighting is largely going to be happening around the left-hand side. So I'm trying to have an impact on that. I'm trying to get into a position where I can help teammates in the front lines here. We get an assist there, you know. Tips and tats here and there. We definitely want someone in front of us before we try to push the rest of this. I'm trying to pick up as much as I can because we have double backline, and that's kind of a redundant position on the team. So, better to have a Rainmaker that can hit up over the top of stuff and has pretty long range than making an Explo that's basically that and somebody else play the same kind of role. This is not great on the defensive side. Oh, I'm so dead. Unfortunate. There we go. Nice. And that's the danger of the Slosher class. Very slow fire rate means that your movement to get out of stuff is not fantastic. I probably should have thrown that rain before I dropped. But just dropping it in general is important. Trying to paint up as much as I can and let my team get in front of me here. We really need the team in front of us to be able to do anything from here. We can stall this out for a while. They're actually 3 down. So if we just get that junior who's up there, stop them from doing something about me. I'm not going to go top left. That is a very dangerous place to go. It's way slower, and it doesn't get you to the goal any faster. Or any safer, I should say. Okay. This is probably a pretty good rain. That's going to make it difficult for them to stand on defense here. I'm probably going to be able to pick this up and hopefully get to lead. Oh, the bomb. I didn't think the bomb was going to be enough. We're really close, but I don't know if we can pop this and get there in time. We did get one down. This is actually a really good look right now. Especially since one of them is insisting on defending from below. And we just got to pick. Oh, no. We picked that up too early. I'm probably stuck here. If I don't die to this, we can try and run it. Okay, we got them in the last 15 seconds, so that will trigger overtime. We need this player to survive. And they were able to pick it up. Too bad. We'll do one more and try not to get double backline. No pressure, team, but if we lose this one, I don't get to rank up. We got a Jet Squelcher, which is kind of a backline, but this comp can actually work if we play off each other well. I was hoping that I could get like a 90 and then maybe they stay in the rain long enough that it splats. At least I got the rain out. Is better to get it on the map and get that paint at the very least than have nothing. Okay. That was a very aggressive play that I made, but it was one that stopped the Rainmaker, and I stand by it. If I had aimed a little bit further forward, I might have had them. Okay. So that player got forced out because we zoned them away. I'm gonna chuck that over there. And we got someone picking this up. There you go. Let's try and get some pressure on these areas up top here. Oh my goodness, why are they popping? We had numbers advantage there. That feels like something that shouldn't have happened. Yeah. I'm gonna back up pretty far because there could be someone sharking around this corner. Okay, doesn't look like there is. Taking it up here which is, like we said, generally a very bad idea. It does not protect them at all from me. And it just makes them score slower. Okay, so we still need to get the Rainmaker over here. I'm not liking how little paint I have. Alright. Well, we broke his ankles a little bit, but we couldn't break his face because we missed him. So. The enemy team would be smart to actually leave it where it's at because it's difficult for us to retrieve. Okay, nice. It's just a brush. Why are we going that way? We want to be scoring as quickly as we can. Nice. Oh, if I could have gotten the rain off in time, that would have been huge, but the brush is alone, and we're here to pop the Rainmaker. What are they doing in mid? They need to get back here. Oh, okay. Yeah, they almost dropped the ball there. If my teammate is able to get the Rainmaker shield popped before their teammates respawn, that's just a KO. That was a good push by them. I wasn't paying enough attention to the fact that my teammates were all down. I don't know who has more range, me or the heavy. Either way, you're just not trying to be in its sightline in the first place, so it doesn't end up doing that much. Like, whether it has more range or I do. Okay. We over-focused left side a little bit, because that wasn't actually where the Rainmaker was, and so we didn't need to worry about it yet. Although I was hoping we could get some paint down there, prevent it from being as easy for them to knock out. So, if they come this way, they have to go... Oh, goodness, there is someone else. I'm going to drop down here and then jump out. The reason I'm marking this is not because I'm afraid of, like, the Rainmaker pushing there, but because I'm afraid of flanks. There we go. All right. Pretty solid defense at the end. Like, we went down a number of times, but we kept track of the places on the map we needed to, and we were able to win for it. So, that'll be a good one to finish things off on. Nice. And we get S plus 25 for that. We're halfway there. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I hope that you were able to learn at least a little bit of something. Obviously, none of these weapons are really my mains, although there are some that I have played competitively in the past. I've played Tri, and I have played the vanilla Slosher. Sloshing Machine is just kind of good in everyone's hands right now. And I've got a little bit of experience in the Explo as well. So, while I'm not the expert here, hopefully... Oh my goodness, what is going on? Hopefully that has been... I had the restream chat up this entire time. Well, guess that's in the video now. Bye, everyone!